Thank you very much, Ms. Grattan. Kevin Ahern. Welcome, Mr. Ahern. Up to 10 minutes or more, total of 15, including the questions. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, members of the committee. My name is Kevin Ahern, and I firmly believe in the sanctity of life. I will keep my comments, however, in the realm of freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and freedom of assembly, which are all derived from the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. This bill, Bill number 242, was written with the intention to protect abortion patients, physicians, and service providers from harassment, bullying, or other forms of besetting. But it goes out of its way to make sure that those who would protest abortion have no means to legally defend themselves. For instance, there was an incident during the 40 Days for Life campaign that I participated in the fall of 2019, where our signs saying "Pray for the end of abortion" were ripped apart, stolen, and then thrown away in a trash can by a passing woman. Now, under the rules of this bill, would I have been arrested if I had filmed this woman in the act? Regardless of a person's affiliation with an abortion provider, I would hope we could all condemn that woman's actions. This sort of, quote, traumatic experience, Megan Boudreau, the woman who instigated the petition that started this bill, had from seeing pro-life advocates like myself is less to do with our actions and more to do with her reaction. If this law was applied equally, it would also extend to prohibiting freedom of assembly outside pro-life women's facilities like Open Door Centre or the Tri-County Pregnancy Centre in Yarmouth. Would I want to bar freedom of assembly outside these facilities? No, because that encroaches on their right of the people to peacefully protest and express their opinion. I would hope this committee would extend that courtesy to the other side as well. Getting back to Megan Boudreau, it was within her capacity to ignore us and walk by, as so many hundreds of people do. Instead, she chose to confront us, which she has the right to do. And while I enjoy a good debate, silencing your opposition by forcing them to move away so that you cannot simply see them is not the right way to engage. At the heart of this bill is the notion that those who would protest outside abortion facilities are there to intend harm and hurt people going in, patients, physicians, and abortion and service providers of abortion. There are already laws in place to protect against such acts, which renders this bill redundant in those cases. Furthermore, the criteria for a violation is so vague. In particular, I was looking at the word interference. What does that mean in this case? It could simply mean a mother walking by with her children. That could cause a traumatic reaction for a patient going in, or someone wearing a cross, which was someone just walking by innocently. This leads to the fundamental flaw that this bill is based on the perceived offense of the alleged victim more than the actions of the alleged perpetrator. So therefore, the burden of proof in this case would be placed on the perpetrator to prove their innocence instead of proving their guilt. This can lead and messes with the presumption of innocence. This can lead to an easy abuse of the application of this bill and a violation of due process. And as to the intentions of those who would peacefully protest like myself, our intentions are not to traumatize or antagonize patients, which, by the way, we have no way of identifying or targeting. We are there to offer help and support, regardless of the mother's situation, so that she and her child might both live. Getting an abortion is a traumatic experience, regardless of whether there is visible opposition to it. If the mother doesn't feel guilt before terminating her child's life, she might be haunted by that guilt for the rest of her life. Unless, of course, she dehumanizes that child by calling him or her a fetus, a blob of cells, a parasite, a cancer, or a woman's right to reproductive health. We stand as witnesses for these unborn children and to offer an alternative position and opinion. This very nearly affected me personally. My brother, during his pregnancy, was diagnosed with potentially being born with spina bifida, and my parents were given the option to interrupt the pregnancy. That was the word that the doctor used. My parents, both devoutly pro-life, chose to ignore this advice. My brother was born, and now he is a perfectly healthy and happy teenager, going through life as per normal. I will conclude my statements saying that I considered not coming to this event, knowing that there would be quite a lot of opposition to my position, but I feel that it is important that these opinions are made public, and I should not be afraid to speak my opinion and to have the right to peacefully assemble outside these facilities. And by the way, we were very much aware of the private property of the hospital, which we legally followed. We stayed outside on public property, which we have the right to peacefully assemble. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ahern. Any questions? Well, thank you, Mr. Ahern. We do appreciate you coming in and sharing your views. Your comments were very correct, that it's important that everyone feel free to come here and express their views. Ms. Boudreau is next.